It's the end of week 8 in our series of readings through the New Testament in 2024. We've been focusing our attention on chapters 20 to 24 of the Acts of the Apostles. And we find Paul getting himself increasingly into difficulty, both with the religious authorities of the Jews, the Sanhedrin, but also those who are responsible for civil law. He's arrested, he's beaten, he's questioned, he's imprisoned, he's brought before all sorts of people to justify what he is speaking about in the public square. I wonder what kept him going. Two things, I think. First of all, he is unequivocal about his faith in Jesus Christ. He has a real sense of God's presence with him throughout this period. But also one of the things that I noticed early on in our readings this week in chapter 20 of Acts was the list of people who are his associates. So for example, in verse 4 of chapter 20, it tells us that Paul was accompanied by Sopater, son of Pyrrhus from Berea, Aristarchus and Secundus from Thessalonica, Gaius from Derbe, and Timothy also, and Tychicus and Trophimus from the province of Asia. Some of these names are no more easy to pronounce than the places in the Mediterranean that Paul was visiting. But in addition to these folk that I've named, we could also say about Silas, about Barnabas, about Priscilla and Aquila, and also he related to the disciples in Jerusalem. He really did have quite a wide base of friends and partners in the gospel. And that's one of the things I think that encouraged Paul to keep on going when the going was really tough. That got me wondering. It got me thinking back to the different people who have been important in my life, in my development as a person, and particularly as a Christian. So here's a list of about 20 for me. Bill and Chris Forrester, Walter and Elizabeth Hughes, both sets of grandparents, Jimmy Borland, who was the head teacher at the primary school I attended, Ian Fraser, or Fizzer as he was affectionately named or nicknamed, who was a chemistry teacher in the high school I attended, Betty Ingalls, who gave me a love for music, Nan Wilson and Bill Isaac, an elder and minister respectively in Law Village, who introduced me to the Christian faith, Shearer Kerr and Bob Young, who were captains in the Boys Brigade and who were really pivotal in my early development of faith, Neil and Pat Dougal, friends from our times in Berwickshire, Bill Ewart and Maura Grice, elders in the congregation where I served in Coatbridge, Walter Cumming, Chris Wilson, Roy Simpson, all very influential characters during my ministry in Motherwell. And then, of course, there's Elizabeth McGee, or Elizabeth Hughes, as she now is, my wife. And I could go on and on because there are lots of people who have had a really positive influence on my life and particularly the development of my Christian faith. These friends, family, teachers, leaders in organisations, different contacts have been people who have kept me going and have accompanied me on the journey of faith. And they've taught me stuff. The gift of hospitality, of generosity, of patience, of how to have a good Christian marriage, a love for sport and for music, the importance of family and of service, of self-respect, of dignity, of having a sense of humour, of faith. They've taught me how to live life, and yes, some of them have shown me how to die, continuing to have faith in Christ. I want you at the end of today's video to take roughly the same 5 minutes that it's going to involve you watching this clip. Take some time to sit down with a piece of paper and a pen or a pencil and write your own list. Who are the people that have accompanied you on life's journey? Who are the people that have had a positive influence on you, both on your maturation as a person, but also in terms of your development of your Christian faith. And then spend a moment giving thanks to God for their positive influence. Maybe, just maybe, you can become that for someone else in the next generation.